Welcome or welcome back to our channel. This is Handy. I'm making this video about the movie The Witches and how we are not happy with their portrayal of limb differences.
Hi, my name's Shannon.
Jessica Smith.
Kaylee Flaker.
Bryony.
Holly Ayres.
Claire Cashmore.
Emily.
Jude Hamer.
Ellie Knox.
Becky.
I'm Ruth Madeley.
Alex, my little girl Lennon. Hello, my name's Amy Marin. As you can see, I am missing my right hand.
Oh hey, hi, hello. My name is Nicole Kelly and I also live my life with what's called a congenital limb difference. So the Witches movie has come out and it is without doubt a problem. This whole week we've heard about kids not wanting to go to school for fear of being bullied or actually going to school and then being bullied. I mean, that should tell you everything you need to know about this movie.
So secondly, I want to talk about Warner Brothers and their apology.
Apology.
If you can't tell, I'm trying to do air quotations because I can't do them. Oh, what an apology, really, to say, I'm sorry that you're offended.
Sort of just felt like, deal with it.
To me, I didn't feel like this statement was very sincere. From my point of view, it sounded as though they were apologising that we were offended, not apologising the fact that they actually used this condition.
It wasn't much of an apology, let's just say that.
I thought it was pretty poor, to be honest.
Sorry you feel like that, really. It's not really on us that you felt like that.
So basically just kind of get over it.
I felt it was very insincere.
It was a lot of excuses and not really, I don't think really understanding how impactful this could be.
It felt like it was just a box ticking exercise to me.
Their apology definitely is not enough.
No, that's not an apology.
I just thought it was a little bit bland, like there was nothing really in there. It just kind of felt like it was passing the buck.
Pretty corporate apology.
I was very disappointed to see that.
It's the least they could have done, I think.
Actually very angry to see that because it's just like, we don't matter.
I don't think it's enough.
Regardless of intention, you should always own up to the effects of something that you produced, that you spent a lot of money putting out into the world. I think regardless of what you were thinking, I think you should take a bit of ownership with this.
And also, can we just really laugh about this, because they basically said they wanted to make sure the witch's hands looked cat-like, looked like cat claws.
Her hands do not look like cat-like claws to me.
Have they not seen a cat?
It just looks like a hand with the middle two fingers missing, which is exactly the same as ectrodactyly.
Sorry, it wasn't meant to look like your hands, get over it.
It doesn't resemble a cat claw in the slightest.
What the actual F?
We're calling them fantastical non-human creatures, kind of putting it more on people for being upset and offended by it rather than owning up to the fact that they did something that could be upsetting.
It was Hollywood possessing their privilege and power.
And to say that they didn't realise that making an unhuman-like creature would be associated with people like myself, well, that says everything.
Quite disappointed, and I think we need to see some change.
I think it's good that they've apologised, but I think they need to do more, and I'm certainly going to be pushing for that.
In no way, shape, or form acknowledges the fact that this does lasting damage to our community.
Whoever was on the production team or whoever were the designers for this, I think it's a really bad move, and I'm glad that all of this has come of it.
So one, whoever allowed the limb difference characteristic to happen, there will be multiple people that lets happen, is like, what were you thinking? And secondly, who the hell wrote this apology? No, it's not good enough.
And I think there need to be assurances that this isn't going to happen again, because it's just not good enough. In 2020, I'm sorry, but it's not.
It's not good enough.
Not good enough.
And I don't accept your apology.
That's it. There's no real action being done.
It in no way acknowledges steps or actions that they plan to take in the future.
What are we looking for? We are looking for actionable change. We're looking for, you know, maybe a disclaimer at the beginning of the movie.
To warn those of us with limb differences that we could find it offensive.
Limb differences are not evil or scary.
Rather than what I would have loved to have seen from them is, okay, right, what are we going to do? What are we going to do to make this better? How can we educate people on limb difference? And for me, the perfect way to do that would be to have, you know, a very short clip, either before or after the film, educating about limb difference and how it is not associated at all with being a witch. They're obviously not going to change the film. That's still going to go ahead. A lot of people are still going to be affected, who are still going to watch it.
I doubt they can actually, like, you know, go in and just like take it out of the movie.
If it can be added into this one as well, then it can be easily taken out.
Snip, cut that bit out where they like reveal the hands, then maybe that's what they should do. I could do it for you if you want. I'm sure it's very easy.
I haven't seen any donations being made to any of the charities of the people that were affected or any other work done.
Going forward though, I definitely think that Warner Bros. Could maybe look into the idea of using some of the money from the film to educate people on limb differences.
How about donating some of that profit that you are making from the witches to charities who are making a difference for those with limb differences? And then thirdly, we have an apology from the actress Anne Hathaway who plays the witch with the limb difference. And to be honest, I think she's genuine in what she's saying. When I read it, I did feel a bit emotional.
I do, however, feel like Anne's apology was sincere.
I really liked what Anne Hathaway said.
Extremely kind.
I think hers was very heartfelt and I think she genuinely meant it.
She was sincere with that apology, so
I think Anne's apology was fantastic.
She'd clearly done a lot of research.
I felt a lot more genuine, a lot more sincere.
I believe was heartfelt, and in fact I found a newfound respect for her and the way that she approached a new way of looking at her character and in fact the world.
She posted it on Instagram together with a video from the Lucky Finn project.
You hear the music.
I am a daughter. I am a sister.
No.
I am a friend. I am whole.
I really loved the video she used. I thought that was great that she reached out to a charity like the Lucky Finn Project.
Which is an organisation which basically spread awareness regarding limb difference and really encourage children with differences to show themselves and not hide who they are.
That's a really wonderful video, and I will link the video and the apology.
She really apologised, and I think
It was heartfelt, it was real, and in it, she acknowledged that from now on she understood that she was an ally to our community.
she meant that. She didn't intend to upset anybody.
I particularly want to say I'm sorry to kids with limb differences. Now that I know better, I promise I'll do better. And I owe a special apology to everyone who loves you as fiercely as I love my own kids. I am sorry I let your family down.
She probably has no experience of disability. She didn't realise it was offensive.
Awkward.
It was very gracious, and I truly hope that in the future she will become an advocate.
I think probably a lot of the decisions were taken out of her hand, and I suppose that's probably the biggest worry for me is who is making those decisions. Is there enough representation behind the scenes?
I think it's great that Anne has acknowledged the issues and that she's apologised. She's also shared the material for people to go and see what limb difference really is and educate themselves on limb difference, disability and the issues with ableism.
Hopefully that will create some change in itself.
I love the hashtag not a witch movement that's been happening, and I'm glad that Anne Hathaway did use that in her apology.
And she really took ownership of the effect that's something she helped put out there. I kind of respect her a lot more, and it's incredible that one person could do a much better job than a huge media corporation at Warner Brothers.
I felt grateful, very, very grateful that she had apologised and used her platform to raise that awareness. So I personally really like the fact that she's a celebrity and she's taken this big stage to step up and say, this is what limb difference is, and I personally promise I'm going to do as best as I can by it. I think that's really, really positive to see.
She has helped to raise the awareness of limb difference.
As is so much with these things, the thought wasn't there beforehand, which is really sad, but I do respect when people notice the backlash, notice why there's a backlash, and then come out and say, yeah, we got it wrong and we're really sorry.
I am very appreciative of that apology. However, The kids aren't going to remember that apology. The kids right now that already have to grow up with a limb difference in life, believe me, when you have a limb difference or you're different, physically different or different at all, and you're battling this all by yourself, it's hard.
Fourthly though, also want to talk about the negative comments that I and a lot of others are getting on our posts about being offended by people telling us to not be offended.
I think even though this issue has been addressed now, there is still a long way to go. I've seen a lot of negative comments from people on articles who just don't understand the concept of ableism and why this is an issue. So that really does show that there still is a lot of educating to be done.
It's a big deal, and it's a big deal because it is a movie. And I don't think some people grasp it. They think, oh, well, you know, get over it.
It's a film, it's not real, it's a witch, it's a fictional character.
You know, we're being snowflakes or we're being too easily offended.
But with movies and with children, if you're a parent or if you understand how children are, children watch children's movies a bunch. They watch them all the time. So they're more than likely going to watch this over and over and over and over again. They're more likely to see it next year. So it's not just this generation that's going to be impacted by this movie.
I think what people have to realise is that disabled bodies are so rarely seen on screen, and when they are, I think productions have a responsibility to show disabled bodies in a realistic light and not have them portrayed as something scary. To every single person who says that people are being too sensitive about it, I think I want to promote kindness and just a little bit of awareness for people to think about the people who it impacts. When something like that is put on screen, it impacts the people who have similar disabilities.
Also, for those of them commenting, do they or their children have a limb difference?
No.
So do they know what they're talking about?
I promise you, I do not get offended easily. I have a great sense of humour when it comes to my hand. You have to in this world, I feel. But this was, you know, heartbreaking and really upsetting. So yeah, must do better. Must do better.
Luckily, the only positive that's come out of this is all of us speaking up about it.
I think that this movement has created a sense of community for us and really given us a place where we can all come together and tell each other our stories, and I think that's been the most beautiful thing out of all of this.
I guess this is one good that comes from this, is that, you know, our community has been able to band together, fighting the good fight and asking for true representation as well. So thank you for doing this. I think it's so important. Good day to you, and yeah.
So I found a lot of amazing Instagram accounts, which I hadn't found before, so it's been great in that respect, because whilst I'm very much obviously a part of the LGBTQ+ community, I'm not so much a part of the limb difference community, but hi, I am now. So that's been a positive.
I'm so grateful that I got to be a part of it, and I got to meet new friends that look just like me, and that's just the best part of all of it.
It's great to feel not so alone, but also not to feel like, oh, am I the only one that's feeling offended by this movie?
I think one positive that's really come from all this is the conversation around it, and I think it's started to make people think and heighten the awareness, and I think that is brilliant. It's causing us to start having these conversations potentially with kids and adults and educating people on limb difference.
I am a mother of two. I have 2 young children, and I want them to grow up in a society, in a world where it doesn't matter your age, shape, size, gender, disability, sexuality, or anything else that might make you be put in a box and labelled. I don't want any of that to be made out as if it's something to be ashamed of, or if it's wrong or not beautiful, or if you are that then you can't be successful. There should be no barriers to beauty, success, peace, or anything else in this world. And when it comes to disability, I feel like we are the last barrier to break within the fashion industry and within the film industry. You just don't see us enough. And if you are, in the movies, we're always the villain or the bad guy. And in a fairy tale, in books, there's just not enough of us being shown in our true, beautiful light.
I think this community has done an amazing job of raising awareness and spreading out that message, and I think everyone just needs to continue doing what they're doing and spreading that awareness.
And I think that the next step for us is getting more disabled people at those decision-making tables in Hollywood so that we can prevent this from happening, and we can prevent kids from ever having to see themselves portrayed in a negative light. And I think that would just ultimately showcase more disabilities in film in the proper way and showcase our strength, our adaptability, our courage, our wiseness. I mean, there's so many different ways that they can go with that, and I'm so excited to see that happening in Hollywood, and I can't wait.
I think now, like, whilst it was really disappointing that happened, I think it's a time for people with limb differences, people who have a social media presence, to speak up and to use it as a chance to talk positively about people with limb differences. But there are people who have similar disabilities or have similar experiences, and there are people out there that understand what you're going through and that have done amazing things. And that's my aim really out of all this, is to show some positive outcomes from having a disability like this and showing that it doesn't have to hold you back.
Quite frankly, just so misrepresented of who we actually are. I've never seen a limb difference like that represented in any film before until this. So it's like, this is what we get, this is what we have to deal with. Until a limb difference is represented in a film where it's not depicted as scary, then I think that's what we have to aim for, really. Thank you.
A lot of our community is trying to tell you that this isn't okay that you put this in a film, especially without talking to us about it. Education is something that's very important. Understanding that we are people, we have feelings. Being treated a certain way because you're different does impact you and is important to acknowledge. So, thank you. With that, I'll say goodbye. Thank you.
I am hopeful that this will now prevent anything like this from happening again. I am hoping that it educates people to be more aware of these things. I can't believe in this day and age that it's happened in the first place. I'm keeping my hopes and prayers up that everyone learns something from this, and it also allows the limb different community voices to be heard that little bit louder.
For me, I'm all about promoting disabled bodies. As anyone can see on my Instagram, disabled bodies are good bodies, and they're not scary, they're not other, they're just the way they are. And I hope every disabled kid grows up feeling that. That is why I think there needs to be a dramatic change in the way disabled bodies are portrayed in this industry. So I hope that I can make a small difference in that, in the work that I do. And I just want to send massive love and solidarity to every single person who doesn't see themselves represented in this industry. I will do my damnedest to make sure that things change for the better. Much love. Mwah.
We need accurate representation, period. In moving forward, what I would like to see personally is I would love to see Hollywood truly commit to diversity, equity, inclusion. We need to see people with disabilities in positions of power working all the way down. We need people with disabilities writing stories. We need actors with disabilities acting them. We need the whole gamut all the way up to the very top. Who are the top decision makers making decisions on, about, and around disability? We need that representation. So that is the change that I want to see.
I think it's really important now that Warner Brothers uses this opportunity, and Hollywood in general, to educate society about limb difference and diversity and minority groups on a larger scale, because it's important that when we start these conversations that they continue, and the only way that they can continue is when larger organisations come to the table and engage in the conversation, and to ensure that people are being heard and that the message is being spread far and wide. I think it's important to educate one another in a respectful and gentle way. When we know more, we can do more, and when we know more, we can do better as well. So it's about working as a collective to ensure that children around the world grow up knowing that their differences are in fact a wonderful part of who they are as a person, and it's these differences that in fact unite us, no matter where we are, how old we are, our cultural ethnicity, all of those things enriched by our differences.
But I think on a small scale, just to keep moving forward, I think we could all be making the effort to have the conversation about limb difference or limb loss. Just make it a lot more of a casual conversation. So I think if you do have a limb difference, or if you have lost a limb, just try to get a really open conversation about that, letting people know it's okay, maybe talking about your achievements that you've had and what you've been able to do differently maybe. I find that people always find that really interesting. It doesn't have to be this big global hashtag and this big global movement. We can be doing things every day that can make small changes, and I really do believe we're turning the tide on this conversation.
We want to be seen, we want to be heard, we want to be embraced, celebrated, represented. We are worthy, we are beautiful.
Be proud if you have limb difference, because it is beautiful. We're not going to let it get us down. We are going to keep fighting the good fight and spreading positive messages, because limb difference is beautiful.
I'm really grateful for everyone who came together to film their viewpoint for me for this video. I think it's been great that we've all come together and been able to share how we're feeling and some steps forward. I will link everyone that's been in the video down below. Please do go check them out and give them a follow. They are all amazing. And if you want to see more videos about limb difference, maybe to do the witches, maybe not to do the witches, then let me know, because I have loads of others that are lined up wanting to get involved as well. Also a couple of petitions going around, so I'll link them below if you want to check them out. Please do sign and share those. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe and come back for more content, normally with my wife. Also, we are embarking on our baby journey, so if that interests you, speak to you all soon.
Peace. Goodbye.
Fix it, Hollywood.